Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. Going it live. It's live.
There you go.
Let's do it.
Got it.
Live.
Hello.
None.
Jesus
Hello,
Christ.
hello.
The good news is, Teal, you haven't improved at all. Who said practice makes perfect, mate? They say perfect practice makes perfect. Can you get it right?
Oh, God.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
Hey.
Well, what happens if you're late to a meeting?
No, we're not late. You know, I've been here for half an hour.
No.
We just saw you run into the room and
That's how long. That's how long it takes me to spend the week on Facebook.
I'm pretty sure I missed a meeting not that long ago, and it cost me $400. So what's
You did miss. You did miss.
one thing I wasn't going to miss
Every
was
week
Sunday.
now. Hey?
One thing I wasn't going to miss was last Friday, that's for sure. I wasn't going to miss that.
Yeah.
Let's drink.
No,
first
still it,
on
still
that
it.
one. If we're going to talk about that, I'm going to need a drink.
Okay, let's do
Maybe you
that.
should talk about it before you drink.
No, I've been going for as long as Thomas has been in this meeting. So
Rightio.
God.
Ladies first.
Well,
we'll go with the worst first. Say, Louise.
oh, as if.
No, well, we know yours. Wine was the worst.
Well, how do you know? Have you ever had it? Have you tasted it?
Well, it sounds like it was rated like it was named.
Well,
Mud.
well, you know what?
I got a good idea to win a wine competition. Let's get something named Mud. That'll
Mud House.
Light bulb moment.
Mud House. So what? We had to all get a Pinot Noir from New Zealand. That was our wine
1400s.
this
This will
week.
taste good.
It was a Pinot Noir from New Zealand, yeah? So I went
Yep,
into
yep.
Liquorland. I had limited options. I bought the best one I could find in the shop. If it tastes like crap, well, so be it. I'm still going to drink it.
What about the excuses coming out of it? I'm glad we're talking about
2020.
leadership today.
No excuses. I'm just stating
Well,
the
you just
fact.
rattled off 6.
How? Which? Tell me one excuse. I just
Oh,
stated
I
the
didn't know
facts.
what I was doing. I got the most expensive one in the shop. It's all they had.
Well, anyways, that's
They
my
sound like
wine.
excuses to me.
Awesome.
Well, we'll see.
All right. I've
I'm going to
got,
throw a wild accusation out here first before TL does his. It's the second time in 3 weeks we've done Pinot Noir, so I'm going to throw
I
an
know.
accusation out there that that's all he had in his fridge.
Yeah.
Much like last week, he's put zero
No,
effort in
no,
whatsoever.
actually,
So-
it's not. It's not. The reason is I've got a 6:30 going, so I need to go on the light. Like
Oh,
two
yeah.
weeks ago, right? 2 weeks ago we did that. It did work, and this time it works too. So go light today. Go light.
All right. Who's
Does that
up?
mean every second week we're going to be drinking rubbish?
No, Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir.
Oh, Chris, what do you?
I think we'll run out of places to
We'll
buy
bring
it.
back the alcohol free.
Come on, someone.
Right, so I got one just above Queenstown, actually, in Otago, central Otago. It's called Nanny Goat.
Oh, I nearly grabbed it.
There was another
It was
one
going to be
there
a
that
joke
was
about
balance.
you if
reckon
I
you
grabbed
got the
it,
other
so
one.
it's fitting that you grabbed it. So,
I reckon you would have grabbed the other one because I was side by side with another really good one from New Zealand. Yeah, the story is they named it. They went looking up in the hills in Queenstown, and they got lost in the tracks up there, and they said, "Yeah, well, we'll name it Nanny Goat because of Nanny Goat trails." So, anyway,
I thought it
Yeah,
fitted
it
you,
tastes-
mate. I was going to grab it and say I did this in honour of you, but I didn't. So glad you
Oh,
All right. What about yours, man?
did. Oh, you're not going next, mate? You're free wine?
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna go on next, but I'm gonna be mine. It's called it's called the
Oh, we're going to the same place. Then I
Yeah.
beat you.
yeah, because you got the Grandmaster.
I went up, yeah. So we both gone the Black Grape Society. We both gone Central Otago, but they have 3 levels. They have their normal Pinot, they have the Master, and then they have me, the Grandmaster.
Wanker. Oh, sorry, Grandmaster.
Yeah, I had this sitting in the fridge for an hour or so.
You can't put wanker on a bottle, can you? I suppose.
So TL's is probably a 2021. Mine's a 2020.
2020.
You're 2020 as well.
2020, man.
They both rated the same, but you went the cheaper version. Good on you, son. Well done.
Actually, mine scores higher than yours.
How much? How much was it again?
Mine was $54.
Mine was 55.
Yes.
Well done, the Master.
Cheers, guys.
Yes.
Salute.
What's good this week?
Not my bank account.
Oh.
I tell you, the wine. This wine is not as good as the wine we drank last Friday. That's one thing I know for sure.
Let's talk about punitive damages and their effect on or lack thereof on rehabilitation.
My odds on is you will say the word again.
Hey?
Odds on that you'll say the word again.
Punitive. Oh, that's really nice.
Not punitive. That's not the word I'm talking about.
Hey?
Yeah, he's talking about the word
that got you into trouble to start with.
No, well, see, my wife made a good point. I only say it when I'm passionate on the podcast. So the fact that it cost me almost $4,000, we'll have to see the effect of punitive damages. They're talking about in the NRL at the moment. In the NRL, there's one player in particular who's doing a lot of dirty stuff on the ground. And they keep fining him. So it's been a big blow up all week about why are we fining this person instead of throwing him in jail. And now that I think about it, because we only thought about talking about this 30 seconds ago, we do that to big businesses instead of throwing them in jail, don't we? Like the Westpac Bank's just been fined $1 billion or however much, a couple of $100 million for money laundering. And does it ever change behaviour?
Well, we will see. We will see.
We had a beautiful lunch because I said the F word on the podcast more than once. We invited a bunch of people I don't like. We spent a bunch of money I don't have.
And we will see whether you're going to say it again this time.
And I killed a bunch of brain cells that I don't have. So it all worked out well, right? So
oh dear.
It was a great day. It was a great day.
Great day for who?
I am grateful that you still have another one to pay for. So I'm grateful for that. Very grateful.
That's a record break. It was a record breaker, isn't it?
Well, listen, the next one is going to be either Lou or Chris. So we'll have to.
If we can keep it to a serious topic for the time being, you're the mastermind of it all. You're not the grandmaster. You're just the master. But what's the point?
The point is that we will see whether you're going to say the F word again.
No, not just me. But your thing is you've never had someone. What's your record of getting someone to lunch it? Your idea of correcting behaviour is punishment or not punishment, but with us punitively, right? So what's the theory behind it? I'm asking a serious question.
Yeah, the serious question was done on last Friday at China. So we'll. If you don't get an answer out of that, then it doesn't really matter. I think that for the sake of not being too serious, I can't wait to see the ego coming out of you to prove me wrong, and show on this podcast that it is useless.
I didn't say it was. I'm asking what the theory behind it is.
So I think that right now we're helping a few people, a few listeners, and they really actually enjoying now the level of language that we use on this podcast. But I think that the way that we're going for the moment, we're actually going to be teaching people that it is possible to change behavior very fast. I like to be wrong, this podcast. I mean, for once, really, Cam, this is the great opportunity for me to be wrong over the next hour and a half.
Treat the conversation seriously. So we meant to what? We're meant to find our kids, are we? Or what's the...
No, we're not. You did. We didn't do it. We just got an enjoyment out of your company.
No, I'm saying.
and you punished everyone in your family.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your theory behind the whole? You always do it, right? It's not just me. This is a joke about me at the moment because I said a record break. I broke the records.
No, you did. No, you haven't. So you haven't. So you wouldn't know. You haven't done anything. But I think the next one could actually be a record breaker for you.
All right. So you're not going to answer the question, which seems silly because we're
But
it's obvious, mate. The pain's got to get to a point where you go, I can't do that again. It's simple. It's got to get to a point where the paint's too great.
Chris, you're helping him. Let him just.
What about me?
You know, in all honesty, guys, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with Louise.
I've had 74 lunches, so clearly it doesn't work on me.
We could have made that bill $5,000 if you showed up, Lou. Seriously.
I know.
If we gave you a microphone and a bottle of wine, I think we would have,
would have had a good time.
We would have had someone with a sore leg and, probably some, external people joining our table. So I think you let down the side, Lou, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I probably saved Cam like a fair chunk of money. Yeah, I'll agree with
that. Yeah.
Now I enjoy it less.
Anyway.
So what's the news of this week?
Well, I thought that was it. I was trying to turn it into a serious topic, but you didn't want to answer the question.
That's never been serious. That's to me, if it was serious, we would have gone to 10,000. I think that when you stop it, when we stop, it's not a serious.
Still not.
So hey, see, hey, I still can't get. I mean, I was so close. I was close there. It's okay. We still have it now.
I'm out for a while. You guys go.
So it's not the F word implied because I believe that was just implied, right? So
no, it's not implied. It has to be.
Shut up, Chris. Shut up, Chris. Go for it, Lou. What are we talking about?
Anything good this week?
Oh, there's lots good. We're about to go to Noosa. I'm excited about that. I said to someone yesterday, I don't think, besides going to the Central Coast to help a few family, I don't think I've left port since COVID. So it's exciting times for me. That's what's good. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you guys there very, very soon.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, look, I don't watch the news much, so I don't know what's good or bad at the moment, besides what's happening in my little bubble. So, what about you guys? What are you guys? What's happening?
Passing. I don't know if all of you's heard of it. Passing of a really good leader, ex-Soviet Union, now Russia, Mikhail Gorbachev. Lou didn't know who he was initially, but he's a very good leader of his time. So some hard times and some good times when he was in power. But we've all got our use-by date. And it's funny that I was thinking about it the other day. What would he be thinking about the current situation in Russia and how it's being led at the moment?
Yeah, but hold on. I want to ask you a question here now because we're about to get into leadership issues. So
talking about Mikhail Gorbachev, by the way, he didn't say his name. He just was.
No, he did.
I did Mikhail Gorbachev. I did.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going back to not talking.
So, Thomas.
So Mikhail Gorbachev was the not a president. He was the premier of the Soviet Union. He dismantled the Soviet Union just to keep Russia. So someone like Vladimir Putin wouldn't like him and would say, "Man, you're not a leader. You're not building anything. You're actually breaking stuff up, and you send us broke." So is that a great leader?
Yeah, I think his country as the Soviet Union, a lot of people were starving. A lot of people were living in very, very poor conditions. And it's not the bloody warmest country in the world, I'll tell you that now. Not that I've been there, but I think he had to take one step back to take 3-4 steps forward for the country. And I think that's what he did. And we'll get into the leadership thing about a little bit later, but I think one of the attributes of a good leader is not looking where you are, looking where you need to be. And I think that's what he did for his nation.
Yeah. And not really looking at, all right, we need to make our country big, but we need to make our people better and live better, right? And I think that is probably where Gorbachev is going to be remembered. Beautiful, man. All right, let's start on the topic. What is the topic for this week?
topic this week. So we're going to ask 4 questions on leadership this week.
Yeah.
So the questions are, what is leadership and how do you master it? Does leadership come from within? Can leadership happen when there is no team? And can you lead others if you can't lead yourself? So 4 loaded questions. And yeah.
So why don't we start with you on the first one then? What is leadership and how do you master it?
Look, well, I'll try not to go on a tangent as I
can. Who cares? You can.
Okay, so first of all, leadership, and most importantly, is not a title or a position. I think leadership is a mindset. The 2 must-haves is empathy and perspective. Empathy for others and perspective of putting yourself in other people's shoes. It's not so much as being in charge, but taking care of those that are in your charge. Leadership is a skill and it's a learnable skill. Yeah, so I'll start with that and we can elaborate as we go. What about you, Chriso?
It's a big question, a big answer, sorry, to a small question. What is leadership to start with? I think it's to inspire a group of people with a common in pursuit of a common goal, and being able to lead those people by your own actions and first and foremost.
Yep.
How do we master it? Well, it comes to one of the other questions. Is it an intrinsic ability or is it something you learn? I think it can be both. I think those who have it intrinsically are very lucky and they don't have to work hard at it. There's a few people in history that have done it very well intrinsically. I think majority of people need to study at it, and studying it would be simply, as I've said, that study and train yourself and find people who have done it, really, really successful people who have done it, and just emulate that. Mm-hmm. I think it's the easiest way. That's the quick answer to that first question. Mm-hmm. We can dissect that a little bit further on.
Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Cam?
Well, I don't think we're going to do I don't think we'll do the question justice or leadership justice because we don't have enough time, because the answer to what is leadership is many, 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 many different things. Mm-hmm. But very similar to Chris's with a bit of a change. I've written here, leadership is the art of taking an individual or a group of individuals towards a common goal, much like Chris said, but doing it in a way that maximises each person's potential and creates a win for everyone.
Yeah,
not just you.
Right? Nice.
But yeah, it is nice and it's poetic, but leadership is so many other things. Leadership is hard. Leadership is 24/7. Yep. Leadership is going first. Leadership is knowing when to go and knowing when to stop. Leadership is, if you wrote leadership is and had to write statements after that, I think you'd come up with pages and pages and pages of it. But I think the biggest thing people don't realise, and it'll probably be bore out in the rest of these questions, is that leadership is hard. It's not as simple as putting a name badge on and you're a leader. Mm-hmm. How do we master it? I don't think you ever do. And I think real leaders understand that they've never fully mastered it, because the key to it is to always be learning and evolving. We're in evolving times where times are evolving probably quicker. Thought generations probably used to be decade or a couple of decades or a decade and a half. Now thought generations appear to be a couple of years, where the population is changing so rapidly in mentality that the leadership has to evolve with it. So I don't know if it's ever mastered. I think I can think of a couple of people off the top of my head who probably think they'd mastered leadership 10 years ago and now are nowhere because they haven't evolved with it. So I don't think it can be mastered, is my answer to the second part of that question. Thomas?
I think that the closest thing you can do to mastery is wisdom in leadership. So you can see, you have longer foresight in your leadership. That's probably the best thing you can get. But mastery, there's no way. And you don't even have to go 10 years back. You just have to go to COVID, just before COVID. Everyone had one style of leadership. And with COVID, everything's changing the leadership. And so once a parameter has changed, something has to change in your leadership. You can't just stay static. And this is the beauty about leadership. to me, it's almost like a river, you know, when you think that you've seen the river, that water is gone. What you're saying is new. And I think that some of the wisdom you have in your leadership, you can reuse in the new decisions that you have to come up with or make, but the rest has to be highly flexible. So I think that there is a core that you can master. And then there is a surface that you have to deal with. And for example, to me, if you are a leader, you have to show courage, because there's a bunch of followers and they want to see you take them there. And you're going to see challenges. And as a leader, you have to stand strong. You have to say, no, this is where we go, because this is, so I think that's, if there is a place where you master, it's that. So there's that courage, there's that commitment. So, I mean, we in our organization, we're talking about the life qualities, and many of that is around leadership. So I think that that's something that you can have. I like your question, even though it's a sideways question about what is it, intrinsic, or is it something that you learn?
That's the next question. So we're already moving on?
No, don't have to move on, but I like that. So is there anything else that we can talk about this one here?
So if we said to people, how do we master it, sort of, because we're not going to get into, the other questions aren't going to get into sort of the nuts and bolts or the inner workings of leadership. How could we give maybe little bits and pieces to people on the beginnings of starting to master it?
I think the most important thing is leaders are learners. They're on that path of constant and never-ending improvement, you know, and sometimes the best leaders amongst us are actually the reluctant leaders, because there's leaders who want to be leaders for the spotlight and the limelight and the authority and the title and the badge. But then there's those leaders who are reluctantly, or don't even realize that they are born leaders, who inspire those around them without even knowing it, you know. So I think if you want to get on the path of mastering it, one of the things that I was studying was this thing, two what's and a who. What are you consuming? What are you attempting? And who are you surrounding yourself with? And what it was about is, what are you consuming? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you, podcasts, etc. What are you attempting new? Because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And so if you're not attempting anything new, you're not putting yourself outside of a comfort zone to grow. And who are you hanging around with? Because we all know we are the average of the 5 most people we hang around, aren't we? So if you're not hanging around those that are inspiring and
you're
growing,
in trouble. Hanging around you three, I'm in trouble, seriously.
Well, but it is so true. It's the 2 what's and the who, and I thought, well, that's a simple little way to look at it, and make sure you're on the right path. Yeah.
One of the things that I was looking into, I picked up, was a simple line: leadership's a balance of 3 things: listening, learning, and leadership, and it's a combination of those 3 at the same time.
Yeah.
And you said before, learning. What was that, Thomas?
Now, how can be? You said leadership depends on 3 elements.
Well, it's 3 things. Leadership is, and it is leadership, right? It's listening, learning, and leadership, right? It's 2 elements with leadership, all right? The semantics. I'm not going to say the F word. Far out. The other thing I think leadership is something that I have sometimes a little bit of trouble with, is being in control of yourself all of the time, and saying what you need to say and then move on, and not holding a grudge or holding that ego. You can't afford to have that. You've got to say what you need to say and move on from those conversations.
Definitely. And all great leaders in businesses, organizations, they lead from the inside out as opposed from the outside in.
Yeah, but hold on. That's the next question. Yeah.
Possibly.
So yeah, that's where it's coming from within.
The way to improve as a leader is to understand that you're not one just by title. That's the first step. Like, we're throwing lines out and don't hold on to ego and don't do all this stuff. The first thing that happens, and I can speak from experience, when you get the title, is you think you're already there. All right. So having the awareness, or having the people around you to tell you that you ain't shit to start with. We can still say that word on here, can't we?
No, that works fine.
Yeah.
That's only breakfast, mate. That's only breakfast. You're right.
Is that the next one where you're one step closer? Come on, Ken.
The first step to mastering leadership is one, to understand that you haven't, and two, to want to do it, because a lot of people are happy with their title. Yes. You've got to have the will, right? Which is where, I don't think you can master it. So I've just said the first step to master it, but the first step to wisdom in leadership, as Thomas said, is to have the will to want to actually lead. Okay, and I can talk from experience that I thought I was a leader, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, and then I actually started realizing what I had to do it. So then there's a question of going, crap, this isn't just a name badge. All right, you have to have the will to want to do it. Otherwise, all the other stuff you guys said is null and void and redundant, because without that wanting to actually know what leadership is, the rest is pointless.
Yeah, nice, like it. I think with leadership, you have to, if you want to start on the path of leadership, you have to see something that is better. There's a line that says, if you're going to be a leader, you need to stop seeing things worse than they are. You need to see things the way it is. You don't need to see things better than it is.
Yeah.
Then you have to make it better than it is. So I think that if you are going to be a leader, whether it is from your little company or a huge organization, you have to see something better for them. And then you have to make it better for them. So seeing is not enough. You have to start taking the action. You have to start doing something.
Yep. And I think too, it's similar to what you're saying, Cam. It's probably one of the hardest roles to master, because I think you can't actually, until you're in that role, it's like being a parent. Until you're in that role, you haven't been there before, and so I think as a leader, we have to understand that at minimum, the challenge exists, that we must be always improving ourselves as our duty. Like people that take on leadership for the badge, but don't want to have that sacrifice. Well, there's leaders and then there's those who lead, but you can't call yourself a leader because you've taken that position for the badge. You've got to understand that there's a price to pay, for everything.
Well, after COVID, trust me, there's no way that any leaders who want to just lead by the badge can do it. It doesn't. People are now looking at it, they're going, hold on, during COVID, I was alone. I felt lonely. I was actually scared. You didn't provide, and actually nobody provided any kind of guarantee for me anymore. And so now they really demand so much more, that the type of leadership that we need to be doing so much more.
So I feel though, along the same lines, Thomas, I feel much like humans, all humans, we've got a very short memory, and I'm already seeing staff seem to have had longer memories than the leaders. Right? I already see leaders going back to their old ways. They got a huge awakening and a huge punch in the face when COVID happened, and they saw where they were really at, and what loyalty they really had, and what respect they really had, and where their businesses were really at. And then all of a sudden, much like the vaccines and much like COVID itself, everything's gone back to normal, even though the problem still really exists. And I think a lot of people, leaders, with a title on their desk, have already started going back to their own old ways. But the people we're employing haven't. We're seeing that in interviews. We're seeing that in everyday doings, what people expect and what people want and how people want to be treated. So I think the people who had the title on their desk haven't actually got the message, a lot of them, which their business will be dead. Very,
What's
very
the old saying? People forget what you do for them, but they remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what you're saying before about the staff. They remember how you made them feel during those times.
And the other thing, people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. You know what I mean? And if your belief in what you're trying to achieve and where you're going is so strong, then they're buying into that belief with you.
I
But
think,
if
I
you're doing
think
it,
more
that's
of the
fine.
issue. I think more of the issue is with people going back to their old ways. Is like I said at the start, if we were to write leadership ears and come up with a list after that, it'd be a very, very long list, right?
Yeah.
Monitors
And
long.
top of the list should be hard. So someone who doesn't have the will to want to actually be a leader, which is what we said was the starting point, is going to look at that list and go, nah, stuff that. Let's just be quiet and hope that everything goes back to the way it used to be.
Yep.
And that's what I'm seeing, right? They're like stuffed on that list because that list is long and that list is expensive and that list is hard. And I don't know how to do half the things on that list. So I'm not even going to try. I'm going to put my blinkers on. I'm going to put my noise cancelling headphones on. And I'm going to hope to God that nobody realizes. Unfortunately, the bank account's realizing it day by day. And it's going to end them. That's going to sad, but that's we evolve. That's why one of the reasons I said leadership can't be mastered is it's ever evolving, right? Because the people we're trying to lead are ever evolving.
Yeah, but I think it's not about mastery, it's about growth. You have to constantly grow as a leader. I think you have to expand, like
Evolve, right?
expand. Yeah, you have to grow. So let's stop talking really about mastery. I think it was a wrong word, and I think it was very good. Thanks to Cam, we have rectified it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other words we can rectify on this podcast, mate?
No, I think that you
Fahrenheit.
sorry.
You say what?
Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Fire truck, Picasso,
black
crying
cover.
out loud. Anything else?
Atari rug.
I'm a bit disappointed. Your wife was solely determined that you want change, but I'm starting to see already 32 minutes in, you are changing, brother. So let's have a look at the next
Four on one podcast. Let's not have. I swore 4 times, but let's not have.
So does leadership come from within?
No.
No.
Do people have tendencies? Do people have natural ability? Are there such things as natural born leaders? Yes. But back to our last point, if you don't grow and you don't evolve, it stops with that, right? So can leadership be learned? 100% needs to be learned. Not only can it be learned, it actually needs to. We just spent 10 minutes saying you need to grow and you need to learn and you need to study. That's not coming from within. What does come from within is a will to want to do it, which is where I had that line written, but we've already used it. Right? So
yeah,
no, I don't.
But that's leadership. So that's leadership. There are some people who want to lead naturally, so it comes from within, and there are people like Chris said earlier, it's accidental, like Zelensky with the war in Ukraine, who's been a comedian who's been thrown into a war. Like Dominic Perrottet right now with all these people around the country. And I think today there was a strike by the nurses for the day. And so he's been thrown into that. And now he's got an opportunity to become a leader. So those are maybe what I call reluctant leaders. But I truly believe that they are leaders in whom the seed of leadership is there. And no matter what, it's going to come out. So yes, I truly believe that leadership comes from within. There are people who are going to lead. And when you put some of those people, not reluctant leader who want to lead, but you put some of these people into a position of leadership, they don't want it. And they come up with excuses like, I didn't know we had to train. I didn't know we had to do this. I didn't know we had to get all of our people to make money and commission, otherwise they are unhappy. All of these things are just excuses from people who are put in a position of leaders, but really, in reality, they bosses.
Yep. 100%.
I think there's a lot. We're saying about accidental leaders. I think that's probably there's a lot of people who have no idea that they're actually natural born leaders, but pushed into a certain situation, whether it's a war or a disaster or the sinking of a vessel or whatever it may be, right? They're pushed into that, and it just comes out at a drop of a hat.
Yeah. And
there's people that need to work hard at it, but they've still got that charisma. They've still got that pizzazz to help them through. And then those people just have to grind to get it right. and they just do it systematically. So I think there's different levels all the way.
Mm.
But I do honestly believe it can be an internal and an intrinsic thing.
Yeah, the question wasn't can that, it does, right? And the reason I said no is because not in all cases. Of course, there is intrinsic leaders. There are people, and
So what you're saying that it does? You're saying it does?
can.
I get it. So let's not do a semantic of a one word. I mean, it's a whole sentence.
pretty
The whole
big
sentence.
word.
Is it something that comes from within? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And no, it doesn't. But it does. You know, if
My point was no, it doesn't always.
yeah, it doesn't.
But not
always.
always. Not always.
I think the thing is, it's like parenting, okay? Everybody has the capacity to be a parent, but that doesn't mean everybody should be a parent, and that doesn't mean everybody's a good parent. And I think everybody has the capacity to lead, and some should and some shouldn't, you know, and I think that's the thing. But it does always come from within. And I think when we're talking about leadership too, we keep thinking team because we all have teams, but leadership is not just when you have a team. Leadership is being a parent. It's being a school teacher. It's being a good friend. It's being a good human being. You know, leadership is how do you live your life every day is an example of leadership. So I think if we look at it from a team point of view,
Talking about question 4.
Keep jumping questions.
You are mixing stuff. You're taking stuff from. Like now, I have to get rid of my line. I mean, you have to stay online on cue. We are right now on does leadership come from within? All right, we've got 4 questions. We are on that question.
my parenting point is, yes, we have, it does come from within. It does, in my opinion, yes.
But yes, but it can be both, right?
Yeah. The reluctant guy, it doesn't come from within, but somehow he has to step up because
I don't want to, but I have to.
But somehow, if he doesn't want to, he'll pass the baton. So
until there's no one left, the person who jumps into the burning building, sometimes it's the person, there'll be 20 people standing around and he says, no, I'm going to do it. Sometimes you're the only one there, and if no one jumps into the burning building burns down or whatever happens, right? So I don't, people who might not wake up in the morning and go, I'm a leader, doesn't mean you can't learn leadership. Right?
Yep.
And that's why I went the route I did. It wasn't about being semantic. I don't want people who don't feel, because there's many people who feel like they're a natural born leader who couldn't be further from it. Right? I'm a leader. I was born this way. Couldn't be further from it, I said.
it was that close. It was that close.
It sounded different, but okay, Cam.
Started with FU, but ended in Urther.
Further from the truth.
Couldn't be further. No, but you know what I mean? We get those people who are leaders. I think we see it in politicians all the time. Politicians call themselves leaders. Politicians wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to lead the people. They don't care. They care about their bank accounts. But where do we see our worst leaders?
No, they don't care about their bank account.
I think
Are they leaders? Are they leaders?
I don't think they need to.
I mean, tell me one that's a leader at the moment.
I think that are driven by, but that's a different topic. They are driven the desire to lead. Absolutely, all of them would love the top job.
Is that for desire to lead or have the top job?
And for them already to be at the head of their community, it is a top job.
Any top job, but that's not leading. When are they leaders? We just went through COVID. Did we get led through COVID?
Yes, we did. We did. They told us to get a jab. They used the topic that you said at the beginning. They used fine for those who didn't want to.
Punitive punishment.
Yes, and it did work. So some people stayed home. Other people said no, that's not enough. And when they got like a few fines, and they went, okay, maybe now I stay home. I mean, so. It did work, so they did whatever it is, and now they're changing rules. But again, some people are saying, oh well, now they're changing. I was right. No, now we got the vaccine. Now we won't have those maybe millions and millions of people who could have had a problem, and so now they fine. They can't just put us in jail forever.
You've changed.
They did lead.
You've changed. Who's paying you off?
But you paid me off
I
last.
think if we rewind to, March 2020,
No, you're talking about leadership. So I think that anyone who is in politics have got that intrinsic desire to lead. Absolutely. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
I don't know.
I think it's an intrinsic desire. A lot of the time, their ego drives that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I question the fact, is it leadership or the want of power? And the mantle of, opposition leader or whatever, prime minister, is it that the power they're driving or wanting to lead a country? I question that, because when you brought up this, I had a look at a few things. I'm not going to say I did research, but I had a look at a few things. And
you wouldn't
a lot of the good leaders were.
Does Brene Brown have a book on leadership?
It's not about having
Sure does.
the be all and end all. So with politicians, I think it's more about power than it is leadership, unfortunately.
That's it. That is something that we can debate, because those are nuances. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's have a look at the third question now. Can leadership happen even when you have no team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, Lou?
Of course it can, because you first must learn to lead yourself before you can lead anybody else. So,
That's the next question, mate.
No, that's the third question. That's the right one. That's the right one.
So, of course it can. If you can't lead yourself, then you certainly can't lead anybody else. And that's
Okay, so let's really get into it. So when don't you lead yourself then, when there's no team?
That's the last question. The third question was, can leadership happen when there is no team? The last question is, can you lead others if you can't lead yourself?
So my answer to can leadership happen when there is no team?
Yeah, that question there. Where there's a third one or fourth one, Cam?
Then she said you can't lead unless you lead yourself.
I don't want to frustrate you.
I
don't
said
want to push you to a corner, but that is the question that we're dealing with.
The question, can leadership happen when there is no team? And I said, of course it can.
Because you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself, which is
question
number 4.
You must learn to lead yourself before you can lead anybody else. So if there is no team,
I quit.
Leadership can happen. Leadership can happen because you're still leading yourself. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yes. I think yes, you can have a leadership when there is no team, leading yourself, but I believe you still need to have a sounding board, because you really don't know where you're going right or wrong unless, and I believe you need a mentor during that journey. And it's someone who's going to be able to tell you where you might need getting off track here or there to bring you back to where you need to be. So absolutely, you can have leadership when there's no team.
Very good. You're opening a line for my next podcast happening in about 45 minutes, Chris. So I'm going to ask you. But what if you have a mentor, someone who's giving you a piece of advice and you don't follow it?
Like not swearing or
no. Listen, this is a big thing, because the next one that I'm talking about, it's there. So there are people who are saying, hold on, yeah, I need to lead myself and I need a sounding board and I need to really follow what the sounding board, but then the sounding board's telling you this, and this. I'm not asking you about my question that's coming next, which is, what is it? What's the process that person goes through not to follow on? But is that leadership?
They're going to pick the easy bits of what you tell them to do to start with. They're going to pick the easy bits to do those. And the difficult bits, they need to become comfortable with those difficult bits. And unfortunately, they're probably the parts where they need the most work on, is making those difficult decisions quicker or making decisions quicker, whatever it may be, whatever the feedback is. And if they're not taking that feedback on, I suppose there's that old saying is the teacher will appear when the student is ready. So their growth may not happen as quick as it possibly could by not taking all the advice. But as long as they're taking some of the advice.
But what if they're taking zero of the advice? Like, I'm going to give you an example. I tell a guy, this is what you need to do. And if you're going to really lead this team, there is a person who is really bad for your business, that person must go. And the leader is going, yeah, I hear you, I get you. But then she's hiding behind the fact that, well, this or that. Is that person ready for leadership? Will that person ever be ready for leadership? I'm not asking for the process behind it, because I really want to know the process, because if I do,
I think when the pain becomes great enough for that person, they'll probably make the decision eventually, and then they'll look back and go, maybe I should have made it sooner. And they learn the lesson painfully, or an expensive lesson.
So when it comes to a decision that is as small as tying up your shoelace, if it's going to take them that much pain, do you think that they'll have enough funds to survive all the other pains that comes after that pain?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking the group. Guys, come on, everyone needs to help. It's very, very important, because we're about to go into a leadership seminar on Monday. And one of my biggest thing is I really sit there, and I'm not talking about this example. This is one of the examples, is how many times sometimes I sit in front of a leader, how many times I stand on stage and I say, really, you need to do this. Whether you have one person, 0 person, or 10 people, these are some of the things. And there are people who are going to think, yeah, it's good what you're saying, but it has to be for them, because I don't want to change. Right. So I don't want to answer the next question, but when there's no team, do you really need leadership? Or should you really only do leadership when you start having people around you?
You need leadership. I believe you need leadership before you have a team. I think it's a must. And I think part of the leadership is being, if we're talking about our business, right? So in real estate, being aware enough to know that you actually need a team as far as staff, because how many people have we seen try and do it alone and won't hire people because of costs and that sort of thing. The decision to actually hire people is a leadership decision. So I think leadership is a must before there is a team. 100%. I think there's people who call themselves leaders but won't hire people and won't do that and won't do different things, and I don't think that falls into the leadership category because they haven't got the awareness or the wisdom.
Yeah.
And they've been told, there's a bloke who stands up on stage every year and says, this is how many people you need and this is how much money you'll make to do it, but people still won't do it. Right? I think you need leadership, and it's not just about business, but you need leadership before there's a team at home. You need leadership before you get into relationships. You need leadership before you become a parent, because while we don't always get choices in that happening, we need to be able to navigate that system, and leadership is a part of that. Yes, there's leadership without a team, but the awareness that comes from that leadership should be, I need a team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big thing is leadership is not something that begin day one and you know it all. Leadership is a journey, I think. You might start in a role as a leader, but you basically know nothing at that point, and so the leadership is the journey from starting in a role to how you grow over the time. And I think a lot of the time, like what Thomas was just saying with you, Chris, there's so many times when we start in a role as a leader, for example, you hear a lot and you think, yeah, well, I'll take the easy part. I'll take the part that I know I can do. All that hard stuff, I'm not ready. And it's not that I'm not ready. I just don't know, and I'm scared to ask, and I don't know what people are going to think of me. You got to battle all that. And I think that is part of the journey where you become a leader into leadership. I think that's the thing that we need to understand as well. We all start in the role, but we're not necessarily leaders at that point. We're just learning. And those that don't want to follow and do the leadership, they're the ones that end up managers, because sorry, I might be being brutal, but that's the thing.
We're going to have managers in the room next week. I think it's wrong. No, there are leaders too. I personally believe that you must first become your self-leadership. As you become a leader of your own self, there is no use going to the next thing. So can leadership happen when there's no team? Absolutely. You have to lead yourself first.
Yeah.
And the least expensive experience in business is to make self-leadership mistakes first. Because there is nothing worse than having a flawed self-leadership lead the rest of the boat.
Yeah.
So if you want to save money in business, if you want to make sure that your money is fine in business, self-leadership comes first. Do not have the team until you have self-leadership.
Yeah. Very good.
But then self-leadership really, and to me, I like to talk a little bit about this, is only happens when there is zero blame. There is no leadership without that level. You have to get to level of self-leadership. It has to be zero blame. Listen, I run obviously a franchise, and I see people who go, oh man, I love to do all of this. And then they go things like, we brand new here. I mean, nobody knows us. Then my question is there somewhere in the world where a guy first started something and he's brand new? Yeah. We brand new here. And okay, let's sit down and have a look. Is we brand new here an excuse to hide something else that you're not doing? Because if it is, then you're not leading yourself. To lead yourself is to say, I have an opportunity. I know my purpose, which is the first question. I know the goal I want. And do you know what? Don't wish for things to be easier. Just wish for me to be tougher. And I'll go out there and do whatever it takes to just make sure that my dream becomes a thing rather than it stays a mirage.
Yeah.
And I think that's where leadership is. I love that question the most. There is no leadership without self-leadership. Therefore, you must deal with leadership without the team first.
I only have one line written for that, which is not for long. Can you lead others without leading yourself first? And I just wrote not for long. That's the truth of it. You can't, it won't, it's not sustainable. You'll go through a lot of stuff. You'll have lots of opportunities to get it right. You'll have lots and lots of opportunities to get it right because no one will stay. No one will stay.
And that's it, Cam. And what you'll do is you'll hire people for the job, and they'll do it for the money. But if you hire them as a leader and you hire them for the dream that they want to go on with you, they'll do it for the blood and the dream and the emotion and the sweat and the tears, And
there's a little bit of Brené Brown coming out of your hair. Right now,
we still need to get paid, bro.
What if I got listen? That's what we call the mercenary, Louise. In Italy 2,000 years ago, mercenary were the best.
I do it because I love you.
That's right. You paid the money. That's all that they wanted. They would just do whatever it takes. So, I mean, I can lead them with money, can I? I don't need to have leadership. If you give me enough money, I can just rise what is it?
400-pound gorilla.
No, I can get all the mercenary in the world and then just attack and own whatever I want. I mean, you have a look in Russia for the moment. Aren't they paying people more money so that they can just go and get themselves bombed in Ukraine? You
need to lead with values, but believing that love and kumbaya is enough is also a fallacy because love and kumbaya.
That does happen in Cinderella.
It isn't going to put food on the table, right? So it needs to start. Your values need to start with your leadership needs to start with values. But at the end of the day, if your values aren't getting people paid, you aren't going to keep them either. Because unfortunately, money makes the world go round, right? So you can go the other way where you just do it on money, which you're going to end up just as big a problem because the minute someone offers more or the minute the grass is greener, they're gone. But just saying that people just need to love and respect.
But I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Get paid,
you hire people for the job and you don't have leadership, they'll do it for the money. But if you hire people because they have a similar dream to you and want to go the distance with you because they see that you have a belief and that's what you're doing yourself, you're not just doing it for the job. Because what is a job?
No, I want people with their own dreams. I don't want people with my dreams. I want people with their own dreams that I can
For
help.
your
them
dream
achieve.
to be a leader and to run a team and to be the best agent in Carry On or wherever it is, you don't want people to believe in that dream?
Yeah, but that's my dream. I want them to have their own dream and believe that I can help them achieve
Yeah, but
it.
if their dream is not also part of your dream, Cam, you can't have a team like that.
Of course you
They
can.
need to be
We're
behind
all
your
individual
dream as
humans.
well.
Everyone has their own dreams. I don't expect anyone to wake up and want to be the best agent in Carry On. I want them to wake up and have their own dreams and then trust in me
So when
that
you
I can
play
help.
footy,
Hang on, let me
play
finish.
footy.
Let them
Okay.
trust in me that I can help them achieve their dreams, not my dreams. The problem with leaders is, right, they want everyone to achieve their dreams for them. What about the people's dreams that are working for us?
But it's
Right?
not
What
their
about
dream.
their dreams?
Yeah,
What
of
about their
course.
dreams? It's not
You
about
can
our
have their
dreams.
dreams,
Do you
but
think
it's
if
not
I
saying
help
that
them
they can't
achieve
have
all
their
their
dream.
dreams, I'm going to achieve mine? Probably, right?
No, but Cam,
You don't have
it's
to
not
care
about
my dream.
it's not about your dream and their dreams. What I'm saying is
It is.
you have a common purpose and goal to get and be the best, yeah? And every individual has their own dreams along the way. Okay, so why do Manly and any other football team out there, is there not common goal on grand final night to win the bloody grand final?
Yeah, but we're not playing in the NRL.
Yeah, but we're still talking in a roundabout way of on a team. Everybody has on a football team. Everybody's goal is to win that grand final. Yeah.
Do you think anyone really cares about your dream, Lou, and your team? Honestly,
Absolutely, because my dream betters them. And
you know where everyone's dreams are. They end up fighting over toilet paper when times get tough. Everyone's in it for himself. Now, if you can be the person to help them get what they want for themselves, then you're going to have them forever and a day.
Totally disagree.
But no one cares about buying you a farm, mate. They don't.
I don't need anybody to care about buying me a farm because I buy my own farm. But my dream, and this is where you and I are different, my dream is not to have a freaking farm. I've already got that. My dream is to lift the people who I have around me and elevate them and put them on the right path and inspire them to be better people every single day. That is my dream. I didn't say it involved money. I didn't say it involved riches. I didn't say it involved farms. My job is to inspire people to be the best versions of themselves every friggin' day. That's my dream.
Good on you, mate. And everyone, everyone you hire's got the same dream. So well done.
So what I actually think you're both saying is you both have a vision for your office, but you both also inspire your individuals to go after their own goals, right?
100%.
Okay. We're saying the same thing, different way. It only took 10 minutes to get there. But you both have a vision for the office, right? And you're hoping the staff buys into that vision for the office. And if they do, right, whether it's to serve the community and blah, 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 but
Exactly.
everyone still has their individual goals.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I didn't say everybody was doing it for the
That's
love.
part of leadership, right? Is being able to inspire people, whether it's to inspire them to aim for their own goals and help them achieve. And that's very important. What Cam was saying, help them achieve their own goals because
Their goals, not ours.
We shut up for a second. And that's what I'm saying, to achieve their goals. But by the same token, get them within the bus, on the boat. I don't know if you read a book called Energy Bus. Great book. Get them in the bus to drive the vision of the business. So you're driving the vision of the business and helping them achieve their own goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, or yes.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Right.
Yes, yes, and yes.
They don't have to care about the business, sir. That's us putting our dreams onto them.
No, but they don't have to care about the business. But then you've a leader that's not running the right culture.
Exactly.
I think if you've got a team member that's not caring about the business and it's not all, what's in it for them.
No, but it doesn't have to be part of their dream, mate. Because we've already said there's people talking.
So now you've got a cultural issue, and as a leader, part of your job is to be the stalwart of culture.
Exactly.
There's a cultural issue and sitting down going, what are your aspirations? How can I help you?
I didn't say that, mate.
Your aspirations, not mine.
You're not listening. Dude, I don't know if you started
listening to you. You just said if I don't care about the business, we got a bad culture. That's nothing to do with it.
Absolutely, because it's in it for them, mate.
Can I say something? Leadership drives culture and culture drives performance. And that's what it boils down to at the end of the day, Cam. I never said everybody had to have my dream, and dream's probably a wrong word.
You did.
Chris hit the nail on the head.
You actually did.
Vision.
You said everyone.
We all have to have the same vision. I was trying to use the football analogy to make it make sense, but on grand final night, everybody wants the same thing, Cam. Everyone's out there to win that game. No question.
Their game.
That's all
They're
I'm
out
saying.
there to win their game. And if you
Big
are
game.
helping everyone win their game, Chris, you are going to have an amazing culture. If you have a business or a team where everyone thinks all they're doing is helping you achieve your dream, you are going to have a horrible culture. You're going to have a
That's just the
transactional
thing,
culture
Ken.
from the minute
That's
But
just the
nobody
thing, mate.
said
I
that.
never
the
said
minute the
that.
gravy train stops,
Ken,
they're all
Ken,
going
Ken,
to leave
Ken,
you.
stop.
Nobody
I never said that,
that.
mate.
And neither
You're
did
putting words
I.
in my mouth now, mate. No, I didn't. I said.
You've been to the Louise school, I didn't say that.
I said.
Oh, rubbish, Cam.
Everyone has their own goals. Everyone has their own goals, and it's your job as the leader to help them achieve their goals, right?
Yep.
Right.
However, every business should have a vision, and every employee should be on the boat rowing towards that vision.
Absolutely. And that's exactly
That's
what
what I said, mate. I never said them achieving my goals. That vision is not me owning 5 houses. That vision is me giving people absolutely world-class customer service and helping them achieve their goals. Our customers achieve their goals.
Yep.
And if
Yep.
you're a real estate agent, you're not doing that, man. I'm sorry.
Yep. Exactly.
But isn't it what Cam said?
What?
What Chris just said, isn't it what Cam just said?
What?
No, that's what I said.
Yeah, what Chris just said now, isn't it what Cam said a few minutes ago?
He was saying that I had the staff working towards my goals.
My
No,
dream.
I never accused anybody of anything. So you guys are
did,
hearing what
man.
you want to hear. Dead set. You are hearing whatever you want to hear,
No, you
and then
did.
coming up with
Yeah.
rubbish
No,
arguments
you're
against
good.
it.
Oh, let's have
All
everyone
I've said
working
is
towards your
help
goals.
everyone
Where's your
achieve their
dream?
goal, and we'll
That was
achieve
your
ours.
word.
No, they've got to buy into the business. No, they don't have to buy into the business. They've got to buy into why they're there. They've got to know why they're there.
Yeah, but
And
Cam,
when I ask for more of them, they know why they're there. Not why I'm here. Not
Cam.
why the business is there. Why are you there? And
Cam.
then you've got the perfect culture. Absolutely perfect. Then you're going to have the business you want. Absolutely perfect. And then you're going to achieve your goals by helping as many people on the planet achieve theirs. That is the goal. They don't have to
Cam.
buy into what you think. They have to buy into your values. You have your values as a business. Anyone breaks those values, and Thomas is there, he's a business partner of mine. Anyone breaks our values, gone. But we don't all have the same goal.
yeah, and do
Thomas
you
and
know
I
what?
don't even have the same goal.
Yeah.
No, I
So why
Cam.
should the staff? Kidding.
Okay, Cam. How
Don't
did
get
my farm?
frustrated. Get frustrated. Don't get
How,
frustrated.
how did my farm come into it?
That's what I said.
Well,
No, you
Exactly.
said everyone has to buy into your dream, mate.
but this is where you're sitting here saying, I
giving
never
me
said
one
that, I
word.
never said that. How the hell did my farm come into it? And like I said, my goal wasn't to get a farm. My dream was not to get a farm. I've already got that. You know what I mean? And what I was saying is everybody has to believe in the same mission, vision, whatever we want to call it, of where the leader's going. What if the leader's going nowhere? What if the leader's going nowhere and people are sitting there going, well, this ship's sinking. I'm not going to hang around here. If that leader doesn't know where he's going, it doesn't matter where he's going. And it doesn't matter when he gets there, and that was the point I'm trying to make. Going back to hiring people to do a job for the money, who will do it for the money. You hire people that are sharing your vision and sharing your dream and going in the same direction as you. They'll do it for the money, but also for the same belief and the blood, sweat and tears because they're on the same vision as you with separate goals.
Do you really believe that? Or
100%.
Or what about the people who latch onto your vision because they can see your vision is really flying now towards the moon, it's about to land on the moon, and because they latch onto that, they can actually achieve theirs faster?
I think
Contributing
what
to the
people,
business, why not?
I know so many people who didn't like our vision until our vision started making money, and now so many people want to be a part of our vision. It's not funny. Oh, that even rhymed.
yeah.
Hey,
But I
that even
want
rhymed.
Can I tell you guys quickly about something? I know we don't have much time, but
Yeah,
you
plenty of
guys,
time.
you guys heard of Robert Rosenthal?
Mr. and Mrs. Rosenthal's son.
No. Oh, well, true, yes, would have been. Robert Rosenthal was a student at Harvard, okay? And way back in the 1970s, okay, he was a behavioral scientist, okay? And so what he did one night is he snuck back into the lab after hours, and there was about 50 cages of rats, and he put labels on each rat cage. One were smart and one were dumb. And you know what happened? Over the coming weeks, the scientists, the students who were learning, they came in and they went smart rats, dumb rats. And the result of the experiment was those that were labeled smart, okay, got way better treatment, and those that were labeled dumb got not so good treatment. And the whole point I'm trying to make is it was the belief that those scientists had of those rats that made them treat them better, give them better exercise or whatever else it was. But it was the belief of the scientist or the student scientist towards that rat. And when you look at that in a team environment, okay, if you have a similar belief about it's how you think about your people, all right, and how you treat your people is going to determine, and it's called the Pygmalion effect. That's where it came from, and that's what it happened. It's the belief that we set and the labels we put on other people is to how they end up performing at the end of the day. So going back
talking
to
about labels.
I don't know whether you're right, Lou. I think that the conclusion of the experiment is that rats can read.
no, he did say at the end of the thing that I was reading that no
I
rats.
fed a rat to my diamond python today, and I don't know whether it was smart or dumb. Either way, it's eaten. Right?
It was tasty.
That's
It
good.
was tasty.
That's good. But they did follow the study through, and they did it with students in schools. And the teachers that they were told, they gave them random names of random students and said, these are the ones that performed really well in the test, and these are the ones that didn't. They studied them over 2 years, and the ones that performed really well, who actually didn't,
What's the point?
what I'm saying is it's the belief that we have in our people, okay, and the belief, but therefore the belief they have in us, the belief they have in us.
No, they're going to believe that we can get them to their goal. That's
Pardon?
the whole point.
Let's stop because we're going around the circles for the last 12 minutes here now. So let's go into something real controversial. Let's try and take whatever times we have right now and for ourselves on leadership. All right, so let's score each other. Let's make it a game and score each other on our leadership. Let's start with me. What out of 10? What are you guys scoring me out of 10? And then tell me what. All right, just be truthful and score me the way you see it and where I need to change and where I need to improve. And let's be controversial.
Well, for you, TL, before last Thursday, it was a 7. Now you're down to a 4.
I was going to say before
Yeah,
dinner or after dinner.
it's going to be the F word, but
Before wine or after wine?
I think honestly, and TL I can talk this way because we're mates and business partners as well. Lacked flexibility, learning to be more flexible. So I give it a 7. I think one of the things from where I started, what I've seen to what I see now, and it's only been a most recent change, is there was a lot of lack of flexibility in your leadership. And then still some things are rigid as, and some things need to be rigid as. You bugger up, it's lunch. Oh, I didn't even say the F word then. See, it's worked, mate. Congratulations. Good job. I said bugger up instead of what I wanted to say.
Oh, that's the next one you can't say.
Understanding where you need to be flexible and where you need to be rigid.
Yes, Lou?
For you?
Yeah, but let's do it. I mean, if we don't want to do it, just say, I don't want you guys to do it on me.
I'm fine. I'm fine to do it.
Let's start with me so that you guys get relaxed about it.
Okay, I think
Payback's a biatch.
in terms of leading by example, I don't think you can get much better. I mean, I learn a lot from your discipline in your study and all of that, and it's something I really value now. A little bit like Cam, but I have seen, like, I've been hanging around now for like 14 years, so I've sort of seen a lot. In the early stages, it was like putting phones in jugs of water and stuff like that, and that was a bit I was a little bit like, whoa, that's somebody's $1,000 phone. It's only $4,000 lunches now, so it's gotten better. But
Inflation, mate.
I
Raise
think
the interest rates again. Raise the interest rates again. Maybe the fines will go
punitive
down.
punishment probably goes a little bit far, but no, no. But I think, yeah. And look, I'm going to be honest though. I think, and I'm not playing the female card here. I'm not playing the female card here. I think that it's not empathy, but it's like putting yourself in some people's shoes sometimes. An example, like back in my office last week, I could see the person there was wanting to dig a big hole and climb in it, and sometimes I think, oh gosh, you got to maybe think a little bit more sometimes before you say some things. So
I did think a lot about it afterwards. It's cool.
yeah,
And actually, by the way, she loved what I did.
I know.
So what you're saying is wrong, because she no, if she didn't and she killed herself, it's one thing. But she loved what I did. So I disagree with, but it's okay. It's your opinion. I respect it. Thank you very much for
You're wrong.
But I think that you're full of it. And anyway,
Flexibility, brother.
So there's another. We'll go back down one.
No, it's Chris's turn. It's going on forever.
that's nice. Thanks so much. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm lucky enough to have known you for quite some time, and I would say the flexibility, and probably Cam hasn't been privy to this, is you've become a lot more flexible than you were like 10, 12 years ago, mate. It was like a iron bar. Now you're fairly flexible, even though there are some certain things that
Still
you take
can't touch his toes.
which when he's cross-legged he can. Also, the fact now that you and I don't know if it's because we've become good mates, but I think you're a little bit more open to feedback now as well. When we have chats, and when I've had chats about you, and I think you've done, and spoken honest, I think you did the wrong thing here or said the wrong thing there or whatever. And we had those conversations, right? And you're open to that feedback, but you give back what you think as well at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you're also, and this might sound a little bit stupid, and I can't think of another word for it, but you come across a lot more human, a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Empathetic.
Yeah, that's a good word.
People can associate with you a lot more, mate. I mean, it's you've lost a lot of that. I need to be at a certain level all the time, and you've found an ability to relax and show your true self a little bit more to not everyone, but to a few people. And we can see that for me has seen a lot of growth and leadership in yourself, and leading yourself like that is going to help others. And we've seen some really good times and hard times, and I think your leadership is outstanding, and that's why I'm lucky to call you mate and mentor.
Thanks so much, mate. Anyway, I shouldn't have asked that question.
Everyone pumping your tires, mate.
Way. Let's go on to Cam now. What do you think about Cam's leadership, Lou?
Oh shit! Here we go.
No. Look, I think. I've seen, and honestly, I have seen Cam change a lot. I used to, and again, gloves off, and this is how we roll. And
Stop justifying it. Just go.
As much as he's a hole sometimes. No, I'm joking.
Sorry, Lou. Can I stop you there? One person I know that can take honest feedback is Cam. A lot of people can't. Cam can.
But
Thomas can. But not from Thomas. Everyone else.
Yeah.
Just give it to him, man. Just give it to him, Lou.
Did you see how long it's taken him to swallow the Chanadol pill? Don't say what you just.
He's going to screw up again. I know he's going to screw up again, but give him the feedback.
Anyone listen? My ego just got taught a lesson. He keeps on going, and the first 10 minutes he made me laugh, because it's like he tries to get the turbo and going. He still didn't get the lesson.
What?
You're wrong, bro. Anyway, so
ask Louise, not you two idiots.
Go on, Luke. I'm sorry, Luke.
Okay. No, honestly, Cam, I have seen you change a lot over the years. I don't know how many it's been now. What, 5 years or something? 6 years, something? Whatever it's been. Pardon?
Something. I think it's 7.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, I used to perceive you as a bit of a bully, and I'm being completely honest now. And sometimes I would see you, when you felt like on the spot or pressured or in the moment, you would, raise your voice and you would, cut me off and stuff like that. And even early in the podcast, but you don't do that as much now. And I know in the things that you say sometimes in your responses and even how you change throughout the podcast, sometimes I see the penny drop. And whereas before I didn't really see that, I just seen like Cam just trying to prove a point. So I've seen a lot of change in you, Cam.
Thanks.
How's my leadership? How's my leadership?
Well, that is your leadership. You're leading your own life.
Yeah. Okay. So, Chris?
Mate, I was fortunate enough to get to know you at a pub in Port Douglas. We had a freaking amazing night.
Wow.
And to see you where you are now from then is a big change.
7 years ago,
I think you're one of the smartest guys I know, but you lack huge EQ, mate. And that emotional intelligence, the empathy, and the fact that to feel the room, I think could take you to another level, where you know all the book smarts and you know what people are thinking and so forth. But to have the feel of the people, I think that's where you could probably improve. Your leadership, I think it's pretty good, mate, because you've played group sport and you've led people in personal training. Not that you'd know, but I think your leadership is fairly good. You call it how it is, and even though you lack the EQ, you still care for people a lot, and that's why you give people a call out to say, mate, how you been? How you doing?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
You got a big heart, Cam. You do have that.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. That's nice. All right. Let's talk about Lou.
No, hang on, brother.
No, we should. No, we should. No, we should.
Brother. Brother.
Come on, Thomas.
Come
Give him
on.
something. Give him.
I always thought of Cam as a man who's got two brains, the Cam's brain and the leadership brain. Unfortunately, one's still looking for the other. And like they can't discuss about things. No, it's not true. It's not true. No, I probably disagree with Chris. I think that Cam is a very highly emotional person. So, and I think that Cam has got a huge EQ. But sometimes you go through life, and that's what the NG podcast coming up. And sometimes to survive a traumatic experience in your life, you have to shut down EQ and go IQ, because IQ you survive.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you've got so much pain, then IQ will be the way that you react. I have seen my mate change tremendously in the last 12 months. I think that the change in his leadership is just light years. It put a smile on my face to see that it is possible. When I first met him and we first got together in our partnership, I thought I'm going to take on the impossible. But I think that mission is possible. And I think that seeing his leadership change, I believe that you want to see someone leadership, look at their family. And when I see the way his family changing for the better, I see a great deal of leadership. But unfortunately, that's why we all Alcoholic Anonymous. Every now and then we have a relapse. That's all. And sometimes the other thing that we do too, and the worst people to show that you're changed with are always the one closest to you. And so sometimes when Cam has to deal with some of us, he has to put that pen that and so you never think he's changed. But I have to say I have seen a tremendous change in my mate. I'm a bit sad because I was expecting a word this podcast, but obviously no. Here you go. Let's get on to Lou.
Ain't nothing, mate. Tom Cruise did Mission Impossible 8 times so far and still going. So
he got paid a lot more than you do, brother. He's also Jack Ryan. You've killed no one.
All right, Karen, let's talk about Lou.
Ugh.
I'll go first because I'm the biggest bully. Right?
Oh,
You're her
Cam.
biggest fan.
Hey?
You're her biggest fan.
No, I think, Lou, you're strong, you're powerful, and this is going to come out completely wrong, but you're a woman and you've done what you've done in a man's world, right? So I think sometimes, though, I think you know that too much, and I think you let your pride come before criticism or constructive feedback, right? So coming from where you've come from and doing what you've done, you've got every right in the world to stand on top of the mountain and say, I am Kong. But back to our topic today, we've got to be forever learning and forever evolving in what we do. And I think sometimes that pride and that army you've had to build to do what you've done comes in the way of logic sometimes. And that's just speaking from the heart.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Nice. Okay. Chris?
You remind me of a hippie in a business suit.
I pretty much.
There you go, right? And I know your humble beginnings and what you've gone through, and I salute you for what you've achieved. I think sometimes though you need to have a bit more steel. It's good to have love, but you need to have the war as well. And there's that balance. But if it's working for you, who am I to say any different? But there is that balance. I just get the feeling it's a little bit too much love and peace. Let's smoke the peace pipe, then let's get to work and get the results. I'm not your business partner. I'm just a mate. And I don't know your business like, other people would. That's just the feeling that I get. But I think you've achieved great things, and you've got an amazing man beside your side that supports you, which is fantastic. And beautiful people find beautiful people. So.
Oh, nice.
Love it. Great. And I personally think, Lou, yes, it's actually taken you a long time to get into leadership. I still remember taking you when I was in Port Macquarie a few years ago, and I said, get in my car, and we drove up to Thai place. And I said, have you introduced yourself to that guy in the Thai place? And he said, no. And I said, all right, let's get in. And then I introduced you to that guy and said, oh, really? Oh, you own that business. And so I think that you have underestimated yourself for a long time. I think that also the only remnants for the moment that I probably would like to say to you, which is probably in retaliation to whatever you said about me, and that is, we need to be very careful that leadership is not mothership.
Yeah.
It's not fathership. We are not here to be someone's father nor someone's mother. Mm-hmm. Look at that salesperson that you mentioned. I wanted her to do well. Mm. And I don't want to be her father. Where you probably looked at her and went, oh, Thomas, how could you just do that to this poor girl? I went, no. If she doesn't make money in a quarter or two, she's going to leave and hate you anyway. Yeah. I have been in business a long time to know that if you help someone make money, the next quarter they come to you and they say, can you be hard on me? Because I want to make more next quarter.
Yeah.
I think that is probably the next step for you in the leadership. And that is to go, I have my children. That's where I do mothership. And I have the team. This is where I do leadership. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, let's get on to, come on, we have 7 minutes, guys. Let's get on to.
Run out of time. I'm sorry, guys.
Great.
Go for it, guys. But I'm going to take notes. Oh, no, I don't have to. This has been recorded, so I can listen to it again.
Yes, true.
Go for it.
How many people believe in you, Chris? You don't believe in yourself, mate. Until you do, the rest is pointless.
Thanks, Cam.
Love it. Yeah.
Honestly, mate, all the help in the world, doesn't matter. All the support in the world.
Yeah, but hold on. Can you just say some more? Because, mate, it's so cryptic. Chris does not understand cryptic messages, man.
Oh, you don't believe in yourself, mate. And you've got myself, you've got Thomas, you've got people who have done what you're trying to do, telling you what to do, and you don't do it. All right. And the reason you don't do it is because you're scared of stuffing it up, but you haven't realised yet that by not doing it, you're stuffing it up more than you ever would by trying to do it, mate. And that's until you overcome that in yourself, it doesn't matter how much support you've got from anybody else, mate. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. Yeah.
And that's yeah. I'd like to elaborate, but I don't think there's any more that could be said. I think.
Yeah.
Until you back yourself, I can say more. You back yourself in public, mate. You're big and loud, and you're an auctioneer, and you want people to think that you've got it all your shit together. All right. It's okay to not have your shit together. All right. But you've also got to understand that you've been around long enough. You can do exactly what you're trying to do, mate, but you can't do it sitting on your ass. Right? So until that bit clicks for you, it'll happen. I don't know when or how much money it's going to cost or how much, how many lonely, not lonely nights because you've got your beautiful wife and you've got a family around you. But I know even with that, it can get lonely. Eventually you'll have enough of that stuff. Eventually you'll have enough of having a couple of wines and go, shit, right?
Yeah.
But until that happens, man.
I think, Chris, a very similar thing for me too. I paired with Chris last month and, so I got to sort of have a recent experience with pairing with Chris, and you have probably one of the biggest hearts. You're probably one of the nicest people. And I do see that lack of self-belief, and I see a lot of me in you, strangely, which is strange, but I see a little bit like what Thomas was saying about me with the mother thing. I know I've done that, and I know I've been that because, I don't know, being a woman, I don't know if it's just inbuilt in me or whatever, but there was always a lot of not good enough as well. And what I realized one day, the penny dropped, and your life is always going to progress you in the direction of your strongest thoughts, and if you constantly think that you're not good enough and you constantly think that you can't do it or that you've winged your way to it or you've lucked your way through it or you don't deserve it, then your life is going to be putting you in that direction of not deserving and not good enough and all the rest of it. And you have what is the biggest requirement of a leader and a successful person, and that is the biggest heart. You've got the ingredients. You just have to have the belief now behind you of you bloody well deserve to be there, and you bloody well deserve to be kicking huge goals and having a fantastic team around you. You're just a little bit too nice, and I know why, because I'm exactly the same. You want to be everybody's friend,
Nice. Okay. Yeah, Chris, listen, compared to Cam, obviously your EQ is way, way higher. So compared to Cam and I, both Cam and I, my EQ put together, we still like only about 1/5 of yours.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, I think, you remind me of the movie The Name of the Roses with Sean Connery, where this monk is punishing himself every day. And I think that it's time to stop punishing yourself. And because you hide behind a wall that's called ego, and you leave a life behind ego, trying to just pretend that everything is hunky-dory. And if you've known me now over the last so many years, now we've done podcasts together, I had to break that wall down of trying to be who I'm not. I have to say, Cam's been a great mate around me to really show me who I'm not, because when I look at Cam, I'm very happy with myself. And no, he's doing that.
Oh, God.
I know, brother, I know you're doing it on purpose. Anyway.
I take the bullets, mate. I take the bullets for everybody else.
Out of the trenches first.
I'm only hoping that with the Noosa conference, you're really going over there as Chris Dinola, not Chris Dinola hidden behind something.
Yeah.
Just Chris Dinola,
Thanks,
not
guys.
Chris Dinola. Just Chris Dinola. No,
I can't help that, mate. That's it. That's an intrinsic thing, the volume. I've tried to turn it down, it doesn't work.
All right, people, I've got 1 minute to get onto my next podcast.